Good Sunday evening, high school sports fans. Joe Gillaway with Lingelstown Gazette Sports live from the Orchard Street studio. And this is our High School Hoops weekly recap show. I'll be joined momentarily by our panel of experts, along with our special opening guest as soon as we're done thanking those responsible for bringing you tonight's show. And they are our Lingelstown Gazette Sports platinum sponsors, Capital Region Insurance Agency, Payer Apparel, Team PA AAU Basketball, Ted's Bar and Grill, The Tire Mart, American Legion Post 272, Crystal Bob at Iron Valley Real Estate, Hoffman Ford, Tonino's Pizza, and Sam Hartley Decking. Thank you once again to these great local businesses for their continued support of Lingelstown Gazette Sports and our area's student athletes. We'd like to mention that Penn Live, we use some of Penn Live's photos on a regular basis. And we really appreciate it. They have some great professional photographers that go out and work their tails off, and we don't just want to steal their work. So thank you to Penn Live. Plus, we do get some guests, some Penn Live correspondents or writers now and then that help us with the show. They contribute to the show. So thank you to Penn Live for all you do. They do have a great sports department, and we really, really appreciate it. And next, we want to once again we're gonna beat this and not stop beating it. Talk a little bit briefly about prostate cancer awareness. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2022. I had my prostate removed on December 5th, just shy of 2 months ago. And I found out originally from it's called a PSA test. It's a simple blood test, fellas. And the gist of this is not to talk about me and my prostate cancer. It's to encourage you or a loved one of yours to have yourself checked, to get a PSA test. 1 in 7 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime. And you probably want to get started no later than the age of 50. If you're a higher risk, around 40 to 45. Higher risk means you have a family history of prostate cancer. I will say this, African Americans are almost twice as likely to develop prostate cancer and almost 2.5 times more likely to die of it. So it is recommended that African Americans are initially tested between 5 to 10 years prior to when white men get their first test. So that's all we're saying is make sure that you're not hiding from this and, that you go out and get a blood test. That's really all it takes. So let's bring in our guest here. We have a guest that I tried to hook for rope in for the show here a couple months ago before we got started because I use a lot of his the data that I get off of his website, and I know Dave does too, and John has started. So, and we're really impressed with his website, and I don't want to drag that out anymore because he's going to tell us all about it. But our guest tonight, and let's bring him in, is Jeff Doherty, and he is with PAD3hoops.com. We love your. Before we get started, we love your logo. I don't know where you came up with that, but that's a beautiful logo.
That was my wife, actually. Until this past year, I had a different one that I just put together myself. But she spent some time and put that together, so now it's everywhere I can put it. So,
it's so simple, so crisp. The basketball looks great, and that's actually the website. And we'll put that back up before we move on to the next segment of the show. So actually, we can keep it up. So Jeff, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And when I say that all three of us that you see here use your website, I mean it, and, because we do a lot of high school basketball. And I guess we'll get started. Do you have a background in basketball or high school basketball specifically?
So I didn't play myself. Going into my freshman year of high school, I was planning to play. But that summer, I actually started playing tennis for the first time and had a bit of an aptitude for it. So that became a primary focus. I was also playing soccer at the time. I didn't think I could balance 3 sports at once, so I just ended up focusing on soccer in the fall, tennis in the spring, and then I was doing indoor tennis in the winter, so basketball fell by the wayside. But I've played basketball since 5th grade, whether it was pickup or semi-organized, like competitive intramurals in college and stuff like that. So I've been around basketball basically my whole life, but didn't play any organized competitive in high school or college.
How did you know? Because you were right, but how did you know that there was a need for stats and data and you don't have articles, okay? You stay in your lane and you're more data and stat driven, and you're all data and stat driven. But how did you know that people like us and just casual fans and parents needed something like you put together?
Yeah, so I mean the whole impetus for it, I guess. So my wife is a teacher at Columbia High School in Lancaster County, and she has a bunch of the kids on the team in her class. And this was, I guess, starting the 23-24 season, so 2 years ago now, a little over 2 years
They won
ago.
this. They won a district championship in 3A 2 years
Exactly. Yeah. I
ago.
mean, the
Yep.
girls and the boys teams were both great that year. So it was kind of easy to follow along when she was already knowing the kids. She wanted to go to the game to support them. I tagged along. And just because I was a basketball fan in general, I started getting more into the high school scene in the area. And this actually all started because I found LL Hoops, who I'm sure you guys are familiar with, who do a lot of great work in Lancaster County. And I reached out to them, I want to say December of 2022. There you go.
There we go. Hello hoops.
Yeah, I mean, so like my background is freelance web development. That's what I do for a living. So I saw their website and I just thought there were a couple things that I might be able to help out with, just free of charge, just kind of take over and make some improvements. And they told me they were actually in the middle of a rebrand at that point and a redesign of their site. So they weren't really looking for help at that point, which totally understood. And I just at that point was just curious enough that I kind of started working on something on my own, just a personal project that originally the idea was just Lancaster County boys and girls, because LO Hoops, they only focus primarily on the boys side. And I started building out the site, and then I realized I didn't want to step on any toes specifically in the area. LNP, our local paper, does a great job of covering both sports as well, in addition to LL Hoops. And then I started to look around. I forget who it was. Columbia boys played somebody outside of Lancaster, and I was just trying to find any information on them before we went to the game that night. And I just really couldn't find a lot. There was like limited standings for like the Mid-Penn League, for York Adams League, especially not in a centralized location. So then I just kind of realized that if I wanted to, I could probably start expanding what I was working on to cover the entire district. And then I was obviously acknowledging that that was going to be covering, 255 teams or something like that, instead of whatever just the Lancaster County area has. But I just started working on it. And then ended up, I used a bunch of data that I could just scrape from the web, found it from anywhere I possibly could, like on, Max Preps, a couple newspaper articles for the 23-24 season after the fact. And then launched the site in August of 2024, I guess it was. And then last season and this season, been doing it all real time with coaches sending me scorebooks, parents sending me scorebooks, anywhere I can get it, really. But coaches have been great so far.
Sounds like a lot of work. Dave Berman, you want to jump in, bud?
Yeah, you know me. I'm big. You're one of your biggest followers. You and Ryan from Beyond the Arc, his website down here, Central League, Interact, and Philadelphia Catholic League. So I do a lot of posts on my Facebook page, update stuff, and I really appreciate it. Not much more I can say. I'm a stat guy.
Thank you. I appreciate
John
it.
Bellios.
And welcome, Jeff. Thanks for being here. Yeah, and so do you have anybody that helps you with this website? Is it just you?
As of right now, yeah, it's just entirely me. I built the back end of the site in a way that tries to make it as efficient as possible for me to manage this stuff. Before the season actually starts, I've already entered schedules. I've tried to enter as much roster information as I can. If coaches send it to them, send it to me from finding it online. And then throughout the year, I essentially, like when I log in on game nights, I can pull up a list of every game that I have scheduled for that night. There's a button to enter the box score for that game. It pulls in all the players on each team's roster and just kind of puts them in, a box score format. So as I'm kind of looking from one side to the other of my computer screen with all the box scores that come in from coaches, I can just read off the scorebook and ideally get games updated in like 1 to 2 minutes, really, if I have all the roster information. So there's some nights where, 80 to 100 games are happening on like Fridays and Saturdays in particular. So those can get a bit hectic, but for the most part, it's hopefully no less than an hour and a half, 2 hours every night, sometimes even less.
I would have just wanted the viewers to see how kind of basic and crisp and easy to read this is. That's what I like a lot about it, Jeff, but that's one of the things I like the most, that it doesn't take you all over the place, and it's just that everything's very elementary, and sports fans sometimes that's the way they want it. They don't want to get too in depth with and that's what it does stats. I just screenshotted a few different areas there, and then the scoreboard shows up differently on the website versus the phone. That came from the phone, but on the website it would be more of a full screen with multiple rows of columns. But it's just for the viewers, this is very, very easy to to navigate through, and you're going to find your player or your team or your team's division easily. It's not going to be hard to find anything you're looking for. So was that part of the because you did say you're a web designer, right? Or you're a graphic
web development. Yep.
Was part of the motivation behind doing this to make things simple for the reader? Did you know that you were doing that when you did it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, there's obviously a lot of websites out there that, I mean, for different levels, like ESPN.com or like the NCAA's website.
There's
nothing like even
there's nothing wrong with those. They're great websites.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think like, I mean, even like, from a non-sports perspective, like a Wikipedia, the idea is that you want to make it as easy as possible for people to jump from subject to subject. And I mean, essentially rabbit hole as much as they want to.
Right.
The idea was like, if you're on the scorebook page or scoreboard page, I want you to be able to click on any team and jump right to their information. Once you're on the team's page, I wanted you to go like jump to a player's page. And like obviously the nav bar at the top for like schedule standings and stuff like that. The goal was just to be able to allow you to, whether you're intentionally trying to move between certain subjects or you're just discovering new things as you go and you just kind of want to start branching down a different area. I just kind of want to make it as easy as possible to navigate around phone or desktop, and just kind of make it easily accessible and not really make you feel like you're stuck on a certain page and just kind of have to abandon what you're doing and try and start from scratch for a search,
Any plans to enhance or add to the site? Or are you just going to kind of ride it out for a while and get more acclimated to how you're doing it now?
No, I mean, I've got a to-do list on there of like what I call it a wish list and a to-do list that are kind of segmented. Yeah, I mean, there's more I'm definitely planning to add. This past off season, I had league pages. So before this past season, everything was, there were standings for each league and stuff, but now there's league overview pages where you can go to the Lancaster Lebanon League, and it'll show you standings, a scoreboard on the sidebar, top three, I think it is, like leaders in points for players, top three leaders in points for teams, like just kind of a summary of how the league is progressing so far for boys and girls.
And you do have power rankings too. I don't mean to interrupt, but just, again, I'll do this for the viewers that if you want to, it's not difficult to go into the District 3 site and look at power rankings, but Jeff, you kind of capsulize it for people. You know what I mean? They don't have to look at all those different numbers, and you just have like the top 5, I think, in each classification, boys and girls. So it's real easy to just jump in and see the top 5 in the power rankings.
Yeah, the homepage summarizes the current power ranking snapshot, and then you can get like the full rankings if you jump to the actual rankings pages. But I mean, the district does a great job of
they do. They really do.
Especially like schedules, and like I go there for, I mean, as much as you guys may go to my site, I go to the district site all the time to make sure I'm not missing anything, making sure I'm not missing games, and making sure also like I cross-reference any schedule, like people's results, whatever team results are, making sure I'm not like fat fingering any typos on scores and stuff, which does happen sometimes. So that's the source of truth for me, and they do a great job of maintaining that. But yeah, I mean, going forward, like I think one thing I really want to start adding in whether it's this off season or the next, is I'd like to get into history a little bit. Like actually tracking maybe like all 1,000-point scores for the district. That would be kind of a nice little touch of all schools giving me the chance to send in their players. So we're bringing it back to teams that I was not around to cover before the 23-24 season. And then also one of the things I really want to work on this off season is maybe not something that's going to affect everyone who's searching, but I want to start building some tools for coaches in particular that kind of make their lives easier, give them private logins to some areas that give them resources that the general public might not have, but it's going to make their job as coaches a lot easier because they've all been great, helping me out. I really couldn't do any of this if they were not so willing to send in their scorebooks after games, add me to their distribution list and stuff like that. And the buy-in has been great in just 2 years of this.
Dave or John, either of you have any more questions? I have one more question. I'll see you though.
Jeff, we grew up in an era where we were checking the scores in the Patriot News the next day, reading through the newspaper in the sports section. And then sort of like when stuff started going online, like Penn Live was doing a good job of keeping up to date on scores, and then that went away. So it seemed like for years there, Joe, right? We had problems finding scores.
There was a gap for years that you couldn't really find. It was frustrating,
Right. So you sort of filled a little niche there for us that, it was definitely needed. I mean, like you said, the district does a great job. I go to the district site all the time to check out, scores, the rankings, the records, everything. But But other than them, now you're like the premier place to go for that information because there's really nothing else, at least not in District 3. So I want to congratulate you on that. Also, to note the difference between your site and the district site is they only have the PIAA games, which you have complete records. So that's also helpful. Like a lot of times I miss out. Like district site might say Bishop and Devon 16-1, but they're really 17-1. Overall.
Plus their recent trends: won their last 5, lost their last 3. I use that for tonight's show. I'm going to get into that in a little bit, and I wouldn't have found that anywhere else for sure.
And so the last thing I was going to ask you, Jeff, and that was just sort of a monologue there, complimenting you, but like I just saved your website to my desktop on my phone, but were you thinking of ever sort of getting like an app, more of an app?
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm actually hopefully this offseason going to work on as well. I mean, the next stage of this, I talked about like building something for coaches that would essentially be an app that they can use on their phones or log into on desktop. And then beyond that, it would be converting this into app format. That the same thing, it could be installed on your phone. I probably won't build anything that goes through the app store, but I build like essentially it's a web app that you can install on your phone. And one of the things that you can get with that, which is nice, is push notifications. So I think that's one of the next things I really would like is to be able to have fans, supporters, families subscribe to certain teams and say, I really just want to know the moment that this box score comes in, this final score comes in.
Notification. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously like I really appreciate everyone who's logged onto the site and checked things out, but it's a better experience, in my opinion, when you actually just know the moment the score is there versus I'm sure there's a lot of people who are just constantly refreshing the scoreboard page over and over again. If you're not living in the area, you can't go to the game. You want to know how final ends up and you have no idea when it's going to get reported. I don't even know when it's going to report it sometimes. So the notifications is, I think, the next phase of things that might help people out a little bit and hopefully, make it even more convenient to use.
So my last question, Jeff, and I don't want to jump ahead here, and if you're not comfortable with answering this question, then please don't. But any idea, any plans for bringing in any sponsors? Because this seems like a sponsorable. Is that the right? This just seems like a site that would attract somebody that wants to have their product or their service, viewed and exposed to a lot of people. To me.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it. I think there's probably going to be a point in which, I mean, the traffic this year has been incredible compared to last year, and last year was great as well.
There you go.
There's a point at which the traffic becomes high enough that the cost to maintain the site becomes a little bit more than what I'm willing to self-finance. As of right now, I just pay out of pocket for running the site. So it's probably something I would consider at some point. No immediate plans. Like I definitely understand. I've had a couple people asking me about it. Like, are you planning to do any ad revenue and stuff like that? I would say if I'm ever going to do anything, I'm not going to turn into like a click farm, no disrespect to them, but like Max Preps, for instance. You log on to Max Preps and it's a lot of ads that aren't really relevant to you. They're pop-up ads. They're videos playing automatically. It kind of ruins the experience when I'm ever on Max Preps.
Yeah.
So I think if I was ever going to do that, I'd try and bring in like local sponsors like you guys have that are actually relevant to the audience that is looking at the site. So it's something I consider, but no immediate plans.
That's why I kind of treaded lightly there because I don't want anybody to think that you're trying to do something that you're not. And like you just mentioned, I've been doing this for I think 9 or 10 years now, and they're all local sponsors. I charge very little. They don't go away. They come back every year with another check, and it's just a nice relationship. They care about the community and the student athletes. So yeah, I would not want to go down the path that you were explaining about. There's different ways to source revenue, and that we like it the way it is now here. And I could see you guys doing the same thing with PAD3 hoops. So let's transition over from that segment. Once again, Jeff Doherty, PAD3hoops.com. Please check it out. It's a great site. And we're going to do something different tonight. We're going to keep our guest around, and he's going to become a panelist. Get your panelist hat on, Jeff.
Well, he can learn something from us.
Well, I don't know about that, Dave, but hopefully. So the one thing I wanted to mention,
history. I have the archives, and you know it, Jeff.
Absolutely. So before we move any further, I was going to mention this during the introduction. We are going to have a postseason preview girls basketball show this coming Friday. This show's all boys, okay? I just don't have the resources. I haven't been able to find anybody that wants to donate a night of the week regularly to me, and I don't like to do the shows by myself. But we're going to talk all about about everything. I have these girls up on the photo because it looks like Central Dauphin will be playing Middletown. I will say that in the opening round of the Mid-Penn tournament. Then it might be Mechanicsburg. These I just threw some star girls players, up for that. I don't want anybody to think that I meant anything specific or particular by who we use there. So, but that'll be this Friday night, the 6th at 7:00. I have Terry Clark Jr. He works with us. Dave, you know him. He works with us on the football recap show. And then a friend of mine, Bob Bonner, who has a daughter that plays at Northern York. She plays at a very high level. So we have a nice little crew. So let's start with some housekeeping. That's the way we typically do it here. And how about this? Hershey senior Cam Sweeney, Dave and I, we talked for a while yesterday about this. There was some discrepancy about this, but he broke the school's all-time scoring record on Friday night in a big. This is when you want to break a record. A big double overtime win at Cedar Cliff, and they were playing for the division, for the division championship. Sweeney eclipsed the record held for 51 years by Hank Kuzma. Sweeney is a McDuffie school as a prep school commit. McDuffie School is in Granby, Massachusetts. So, Dave, thank you for you really kind of looked in. Dave found an article written, I think back then, in 2 articles that said Kuzma had like 100 more points than Hershey is claiming he did. So
one was Lebanon Daily News, and the other, the Pittsburgh Post Gazette, that had Hank made first team All-State. It's more incredible story. His father, Hank's father, Hank Kuzma Sr., was the head coach of that unbelievable Midland team.
Beat Steel High 91-69, maybe
60,
in the state.
91-60 in the back in the 3-class AAA state final in 1965.
Yeah. Well, I certainly don't remember that, but I know very well about it.
I do. I was 7 years old.
Okay. So, and then we're on a 1,000-point watch here. Jelani Easter from Central Dauphin. He's now sitting at 970 career points with at least 4 games remaining. Jelani has 2 regular season games, and then he's assured at least 1 Mid-Penn Conference tournament game, and then they're assured at least 1 District 3 game. So hopefully Jelani, if he just keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to get to 1,000. And he's worked hard for 4 years. So how about games? We're just going to throw some scores out. This is what we do, Jeff. If you want to interrupt and just say, I saw that game, or I know about it. I'm just going to throw some scores out of games of significant. Northern York over East Pennsboro, 64-53. Greencastle, Northern York, and East Penn have kind of been lumped together there at the top all season long. So, they were trying to get a little bit of distance between one another, and that was a good win for Coach Ty Savercool and his guys. Chambersburg 59, State College 44. They're kind of 2 of the next level teams behind like Central Dauphin. Well, it is Central Dauphin and the rest, but Chambersburg, I was told they have a guy. Dave, do you know about him? Was he a transfer or he was injured, like a big guy that? But they're going to be there when it matters.
Well, let me look up D3 Hoops, PAD3hoops.com.
You might learn a little bit there, right?
Well, I got most of the stats are updated. I mean, Yeah,
you don't have to.
Jeff, how about some of these girl scores you got to report? Like 60-8, just
59-7.
It happens on the boys' side too. Yeah.
You probably wonder sometimes, is that real? Is that accurate?
So this is Chambersburg?
Chambersburg, yeah. Milton Hershey 67, Central Dauphin East 48, Chambersburg 58, Central Dauphin East 55. That was a tough couple games in a row there for East, who's trying to make a push here to get into the district championship game. How about this one here? 92, Exeter Township 92, York William Penn 62.
Stunning.
William Penn been playing some good basketball too. Wow. Berks Catholic 54, Muhlenberg 46. Good win for Berks Catholic. State College over Cumberland Valley. Northern York over 4 and 15 Middletown by 2. Reading over Wilson. Hershey the aforementioned game, 2 overtime, 77-73 over Cedar Cliff. Here's a shocker. Man, McDevitt 63, Susquehanna Township 62 in overtime.
Was
See,
it? I don't think it was overtime.
What's that?
I don't think it was overtime.
I think it was. I don't know where I got that from.
Yeah, but that is a shocker. I mean, Susquehanna's lost like 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
And they just got blown out by Steel High, who, of course, is a rivalry type game, but they're, Steel High's 2A, Susquehanna 4A.
Maybe
yeah.
not. Did you have that as overtime, Jeff? Do you know?
I did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I could look up the original score.
No, that's okay. Yeah, that's right. That's where I got.
No, then my bad. Yeah.
And I say that with respect to Susquehanna Township, but I mean, Bishop McDevitt's like the second-ranked team in 4A in the state, But, I think Coach Jim Rao would say, listen, man, a win's a win. We escaped and we got the W.
Right.
Harrisburg 95, Steel High 83. I watched that yesterday. It was the Jayon Lewis show for Harrisburg. Two-sport athlete. He's very, very good.
He scored like 37, Joe, or something?
I don't know, because I was watching the post game, like the wrap-up part with Coach Smallwood and Charlie Fortney and Jeff Thompson, and they gave him player of the game, but they didn't,
he was player of the game, yeah.
They didn't say what he scored. At least
I think it was 37.
Steel High outscored Harrisburg 53-50 in the second half.
Yeah, Cougars better tighten up on that defense, but still 11 wins, and that is the most. Last year they won 10-12, the most since the 2019-20 season.
Good point, fair point. They're not going to turn everything around overnight, so they're on their way back. Cumberland Valley 58, Abington 44 in some non-league action yesterday.
That's a huge win right there. Abington.
And then, speaking of shockers, Berks Catholic 68, Reading 47. I'm not shocked that Berks Catholic won. I mean, Snip Esterly knows how to get a W, But man, by 21, and it really was that. I watched the whole game. I mean, they beat him by 21, and it was like a 21-point whooping. I
mean, they beat 2 of the top 6A teams in 3 days, Muhlenberg and Reading, and in the middle there they beat York Country Day, who's one of the top 1A schools. But 3 days in a row, 3 wins.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Well, no, it is believable when you have Snip Esterly coaching.
I mean,
but man,
Berks Catholic, if they don't win 4A, something's wrong. They're beating up the best teams in 6A. So
Kingston McCoy is something else. The guard for Berks Catholic.
Yeah, and Snip was talking about him. Was it last year we had him on the show, Joe?
Boy, he's good. I think I had a chance to see. I think I saw 2 of the best guards in the state between Nazir Barnes from York William Penn, and then McCoy from Berks Catholic. So how about we jump into the Mid-Penn Conference, talk about some things there. How about these new coaches? And you update the Jeff the best you can, all that stuff too. But we mentioned these new coaches in the first show of the year. Let's just kind of give an update and talk about what they're doing now. In the Commonwealth, we have Coach Seth Leonard, Central Dauphin. They're 16-4 overall, 11-1, and they have clinched the Mid-Penn Commonwealth. The Colonial Division, we just mentioned Coach Ty Savercool. He was a regular weekly panelist on this show last year. We kind of had to let him go coach this year, but he did a great job with us and for us. And he's 14-5 and 11-2, and still poised to have a shot at the Colonial Division championship. And
Joe, sorry to interrupt you. What does he need? Does he need Greencastle to lose a league game still?
Yeah, Greencastle has 1 loss.
They only have 1 league loss.
Yeah,
okay.
It's going to be an uphill. It's not going to be easy, but he's again they turned. I think they were 14-10 overall last year, and they're 14-5 now. McDevitt, Coach Jim Rao, they're 17-1, 12-1 in the Capital. Steel High, Jeremy Buzz Cable, 9-9 overall, 7-5 in the Capital Division. That's kind of close to how they finished last year, I think. And then Susquehanna Township coach Kenneth Stone. And we don't know what's happening there, but they're 4-14 overall, 4-8 in the Mid-Penn Capital Division. They did have some returning Mark Sloan and Mackay Slappy. They had some returning kind of studs, really good players. So, but who knows? I don't know what's going on there. I just wanted to mention that. And then the Keystone, as far as we know, had no new coaches. So, longest winning streaks, I got this from PAD3hoops.com. Trinity is at 14 games straight. I think their only loss was to McDevitt. Milton Hershey is at 10 games straight, and Central Dauphin is at 9 games straight. And then there are no others above 5. I think Hershey's has 5 wins straight. So
that's the mid pen, Joe, right?
That's the overall.
Berks Catholic has 11 in a row, I think.
Oh, they do? Oh,
Yeah,
no, that's
but
the mid pen. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why I asked you about
absolutely.
mid pen. Yeah.
Yes. I just looked at the mid pen for that. How about the upcoming mid pen? No, let's look at this here, guys.
I do want to say, I don't know if you guys cover York Adams much, but I think Delone Catholic is the only undefeated boys team I think that we still have. So that's one year
after Octorara lost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, lost to Downington West, I think it was, or East. I forget which one. West the other day. But yeah, they've looked good this year too.
Dave, was it East or West that Octorara lost to?
Downingtown West, who lost to Coates, had a 13-point lead a few nights ago at Coatesville going into the fourth quarter and let it slip away. They missed 7 foul shots.
Wow.
Out of 12 did Downingtown West.
That hurts.
Coatesville won at 61-60. Octorara, boy, that District 3-5A is going to be awesome. And I tell you what, mid-pen Keystone, you got to give them a lot of credit. They are, some people think, top to bottom, loaded.
Okay. So, yeah, and I don't think I know this is going to sound rhetorical, but I don't know if it's really that bad to lose a game like Octorara did, like heading into the playoffs. I don't know if you want to go into the playoffs like 22-0, but Middletown, I believe, is the only undefeated girls team left. And they had 2 nice games 2 days in a row. They beat Northern York and then Northern Lebanon, both good teams. So, so let's just kind of breeze through this. Central Dauphin, they have clinched 11-1, and the next best record there is Chambersburg at 9-4. The Keystone, 3 still in the running. Milton Hershey and Hershey have to play.
They're playing this week, right, Joe?
Yeah, I think in the middle of the week sometime, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Capital Division, that's gonna be a split, and then McDevitt will probably go to the tournament.
Tournament. I believe the only game left, a league game for either one of them, McDevitt or Trinity, is Trinity has Steel High either tomorrow or the next day. So I mean, Steel High could upset. I mean, they played tough against Harrisburg, so you never know.
Steel High did not look bad at all against Harrisburg. And then we talked about this a few moments ago. Greencastle control their destiny. If they win out, they win the division. So, and then the mid-pen tournament, I just found this the other day. Oh, in the event of a tie for a division, head-to-head competition will be the first criteria to determine division entry into the mid-pen tournament. If the teams split during the regular season, then the District 3 power rating will determine the division representative. And that's probably what's going to happen with the Capital Division, with McDevitt and Trinity. I would think so.
You know what I need? You know what I need somebody to do is a complete history. I don't know how many years it's been they've had the basketball tournament, the mid-pen, but I'd like to see year by year list of the championship games.
Their site has it. The mid-pen site has it.
Yes, sir.
I've seen it in there. I couldn't find it today, though, Dave. Go ahead, John.
So Joe, right now, if McDevitt and Trinity finish in a tie for the Capital, McDevitt would go to the mid-pen tournament because their power ranking is higher.
Like 78 and 76.
And they split on the season. So that's a big head-to-head split, and then it would go to power ranking. Yeah, so 78 versus 76.
Yeah, so it's getting kind of late in the season for that to change a whole lot as long as they both keep winning. McDevitt has to play East High tomorrow night, though, so you don't know what's going to happen there. And then this is let's just look at the top column there, or the top row. Colonial versus Commonwealth in the first round. That would be right now Greencastle versus Central Dauphin. And then the Capital, as things stand, would be McDevitt versus the Keystone. I don't want to say it. Milton Hershey, probably, with Cedar Cliff picking up that second loss. So let's move on to. You know what? I wanted to throw this up. This is the last time I mentioned this because Central Dauphin has the boys and the girls have won their divisions. The last time, does anybody know? I'll throw this out as a trivia question.
What's the question again?
When's the last time that a school's boys and girls team representative both won the Mid-Penn tournament?
2008.
You just threw that out there, John. Did you do the school, the teams, Jeff? I'm not usually this tough on the panelists. I'm just wondering.
I thought you meant Central Dauphin.
No.
Oh.
When was the last time? Okay, let me say it again. Maybe the last time that this one school sent a boys and a girls team to the Mid-Penn Conference basketball tournament and both won.
I would guess it's Trinity.
That's a good guess, but no, they've done it a few times. Yeah, that's a great. Well, 2022.
It must have been CD.
Nope. Cedar Cliff.
Oh yeah.
Central Dauphin did it in 2020.
Ty Savercool coached Cedar Cliff for the boys.
Remember, John, you and I covevered that. We broadcasted that game at East High. He had three starters out.
Announcer. Do you remember that?
Yes, you were. I do remember.
And you guys
Coach Savercool had three starters out, and they beat Cumberland, a very good Cumberland Valley team. And then, of course, Cedar Cliff girls were really good. You know, and they just kind of rolled Trinity. But and then that was 2022, and then Central Dauphin did it in 2020. John.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right, so let's move into District 3 here, and let's explain what freeze date and deadline are. Okay, for those who don't know, at the top of the power rankings, you're going to see the term freeze date. Freeze date is the last date you can schedule a game that's going to count towards the power rankings. Correct, Jeff?
Correct, as far as I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they moved that back just like a day or two. The freeze date was last Wednesday, the 28th. So you can't call it. One coach can't call another coach up Friday or the morning of the 29th and go, hey, we really need to try to get another. Nope, it's too late. You already had to have it in by the 28th. And then the deadline date will be the 11th. You must have your game played by the 11th. You can play games after the 11th, and they will count towards your record. I mean, they're real games, but they're not going to count towards the power rankings. So let's take a look. And Jeff, just so you know, we don't spend too much time on 1A around here because there's not really any teams that we cover or that. But I like to throw it up there just for the. And how about we do this, John? Because you always remind me. So 1A has 10 representatives. It'll go down right now to Shalom Christian Academy. And we'll jump into 2A. And I think Steel High is finally getting to the point where I'm a little more comfortable with them. I was concerned because Greenwood's obviously a 2A school. And they play primarily like other small schools. And I was thinking, boy, if they just went out and then, Steel High.
Steel High was at 4 for a while there. They moved up to 3. So that only the top 4 go.
Yeah, Steel High has for sure. They have a one win for sure. They have Camp Hill remaining, and James Buchanan's not bad. So I think if Steel High even splits those games, that they'll get in, and probably stay at 3, which would give them York Catholic in the opening round there. 3A, it's probably Trinity and everybody else, but hey, we know that Lancaster Mennonite's really good too. So. 4A, there's that Berks Catholic team I mentioned. I think, John, a few weeks ago, we thought it was going to kind of be like McDevitt and, and maybe Berks Catholic, but now I think it's going to be, that could be a really very, very good team.
Yeah, Berks Catholic has the highest power rating out of anybody right now.
Well, they play a lot of good teams. They're a 4A school, and they play a lot of, they play Exeter twice, I think, and that's their 5A, and then Muhlenberg, Reading. Speaking of 5A, Hershey, Milton Hershey, the top 2 teams in the Keystone, or the top 2 teams in the power rankings.
A lot of mid-pen teams in the running for playoffs there in 5A, Joe, because 16 teams go.
Hershey, Milton Hershey, Greencastle, Northern York, East Pennsboro, Palmyra, and Redland, all currently qualified. And then in 6A, we were talking today about whether we think Central York has enough left without Brooklyn Nace, who went off. He was their best player, who went off to college. And I don't know. They still only have those 2 losses. They lost back-to-back games against York High and Central Dauphin, and they didn't lose any before then or since then. So mid-pen teams that are on the fence would be – I'm going to take Steel High off the fence. I feel okay about them. James Buchanan and Boiling Springs in 4A. East Pennsboro, Palmyra, and Redland in 5A. And then Harrisburg, I think I'm going to take them off the fence too. They're at 13. Let's throw that back up there.
Yeah, so the top 16 again here in 6A go, Joe.
Yeah.
CD East is gonna be fighting for their life their next week. They got some tough games still ahead, and they are currently at what, 14?
Yes, you are correct. Yeah, they're at 14. Let me tell everybody who CD East has left. McDevitt, Cumberland Valley, Muhlenberg, then York Country Day, and Carlisle. So those first 3 games are brutal.
Yeah.
Now,
Muhlenberg, be rough.
Muhlenberg, I don't know if they beat Reading once or not, but they played
Reading. They did,
tough.
yeah.
Okay. They beat Reading. They beat Central Dauphin, and so they're real. And CV is still very good even without Jared D'Olimpio. So that's not going to be easy for East. Let's see. We got a comment here. Oh, Kirby Lentz. Thank you. Thursday is Hershey and Milton Hershey. Thanks, Kirby. Appreciate that, bud. And let's take that banner down. So let's talk about hey, Dave. Let's bring Dave in. Jeff, Dave Berman is our resident District 1, District 12, and District 6 panelist. Dave, what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about District 6?
Yeah.
Kind of get that done.
The scenario, you asked Mr. Doherty, right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. In District 6, 6A.
He's going to give Jeff a lesson here. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry. I love this.
Even though Altoona, Mifflin County, and State College, as they say up there, because I was on the radio in Mifflin County for 13 years. I was the voice of their sports from 2002 to 2015 before moving back to here to the Chester, PA area where I'm from. But anyway, they have 3, since they went to 6 classes, they just have 3 teams. And even though they play a District 3 schedule, District 3 league, they have their own, they don't go through District 3 in the postseason. They go through a District 6A tournament. And many times in a lot of sports, it's only 2 teams that they automatically go to the championship. Like for the 3rd year in a row, it's going to be Mifflin County and State College.
It's not a championship. It's a game.
Well, it's
still counts as a district championship.
I know.
Goes in the record books as a District 6 championship, 3rd year in a row. So people around the state, they might see below 500 records. Mifflin County, I think, is going to run the table. I think they'll end up 12-10, and then State College, but and Altoona is probably not going to qualify. So there you go, Jeff. So the winner of that will go play a sub-regional game. And against the winner, there's only 2 teams, District 10 6A, Erie High and Erie McDowell. So the winner of that. And the thing is, Jeff, they get trophies, they get huge crowds for the games, and they really don't have to work for it that hard, do they, guys?
No, because they're starting the season, they got a 33% chance of winning. Right?
You can look at it now.
So, it is unbelievable. Now,
I like to have these conversations like on the phone or text. I don't like to have them like when people are watching because
but Dave,
you guys know how I feel about it.
So Dave, that champion of District 6, then Dave, they go into that sub-region, and that sub-regional game, the winner actually qualifies for the state tournament, right?
goes and opens up against the third,
District.
since they'll have the top seed, the third place team out of District 7, which is loaded.
Correct.
So hypothetical, let's say Mifflin County they've struggled. They 9 out of 11, but they just beat Selinsgrove the other day, and they grinded out a win at Lower Dauphin. So let's say Mifflin County, hey, we haven't had a District 6 champion from Mifflin County boys basketball since 2007 when it was Indian Valley. Jeff, back in the day, it was Indian Valley, Lewistown. They merged 2011 to become Mifflin County. So it's basically it's a one county school that I think should be a powerhouse in all sports, the best of the best. So if Mifflin County can beat State College, huge. It shows that they can beat a good mid-pen Commonwealth team, and it'll shut everybody up. And then they have to go out and what I'm talking
It's not
about.
going to happen, Dave. I just talked about being a little sensitive with this stuff, but I'm just going to tell you that's not going to happen.
The last 2 times they played, very close games.
I know.
District champ, but
State College took Central Dauphin to overtime a couple of weeks ago. I think they beat Cumberland Valley. I know matchups and all that, but I think State College is kind of pretty good.
Well, so you don't think Mifflin County was predicted third? You've seen enough of the Huskies, and let's talk about it because that's a 6A team, and they were predicted third, Jeff, in the preseason. So, what do you think the issues have been this year for them?
I don't know enough about that. I mean,
close.
You told me that they're one of the best. You compared them to who'd you compare them to, Dave?
Down here,
Steph Curry and Golden State. I don't see that.
Jack is a tremendous player. I mean, he would start for most teams, obviously, down in your area. He
absolutely
could shoot lights out, and but I think with their style, weave the ball around if they can make shots. Wade's a great coach. They've been building. This group, Jeff, has been together in Mifflin County since 4th grade. So they've been building. They went from 2000. Here's another. Mifflin County went from 2014 to 2022, all those years, 20 wins and 175 losses. So now the last 3 years, 10 and 12, 10 and 12 this year. Hopefully they'll run the table and be 12 and 10. So there's your lesson. That's your District 6 update. And that's my opinion. Yes, I think they all should go through District 3. Jeff,
yes.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, what do you think about that, Jeff? You have an understanding of how that all works.
Yeah, I mean, I did want to point out because they're not in District 3, but those 3 teams are on the website. Because when I built this thing, obviously PAD3 Hoops District 3 was the container for all the teams. But as soon as I got into it, I also wanted to just provide mid-pen standings and statistics too, and it felt strange to just exclude 3 teams. And then I think in Tri Valley, there's also Juniata, East Juniata, St. Joseph's Catholic, and I forget the last, Line Mountain are also similar. Both they're all play District 3 teams throughout the year, but they're not technically District 3, and they're on the website as well. So
well done. Yep.
And Juniata is right. You got Juniata County, then you got Mifflin County. They border each other, and that's another situation. I can't believe they went. I don't know why they did it. Juniata in sports went through District 6 but they play a District 3 schedule, and sometimes that comes back to bite them. Jeff, in other sports, I've seen, and Joe and I, softball and soccer, teams go in with records, and we've seen it with State College and Altoona, like 2-15 or 2-17, and they'll have an automatic berth right to a District 6 6A championship. Yes. Or in soccer before. So that's I'll throw it out there. We have a lot of people checking in from District 6, so I think that we should cover that. And there you go.
How about District 1, Dave? What's going on down there?
That's it's like
suburban Philadelphia area for those
Catholic League. Everybody's beating each other up. And, District 1, Pencrest, a team that has 9 seniors back, just beat Springfield Delco the other day. This is 5A. They lost to Marple Newtown, a tough, scrappy team, 35-33. So it's up for grabs. In District 1, in 6A and 5A, anybody, I would say the top 4 or 5 teams can win it. That's what I think down here. So just to be, again, Jeff, and John and Joe, follow Beyond the Arc website that covers the Central League, and they cover the Philadelphia Catholic League. They have 1,000-point scores. It's a great site. Jeff, you've seen that before?
I have, yeah. I haven't spent too much time on it, but I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So there you go, guys. That's all I can really say.
You always say enough, Dave. Thank you very much. That's our voice of Delco, Dave Berman. Anything else, guys? I think we got a lot accomplished in 50 minutes there. We learned a lot more about PAD3 hoops. Again, I will encourage everybody to please go check that website out if you like high school basketball, boys and girls. Again, it's mostly District 3, but Jeff just explained that there are a handful of other schools outside of District 3 that play against District 3 competition throughout the year. So, and you'll really like this. It's easy to navigate through. It's really clean and simple, and that's why Dave and I like it. I know that for sure. And it's pad3hoops.com. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me. I
You're
appreciate it.
Great guest. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, Jeff, do you get a lot of people every day contacting you and saying thank you or trying to help you out and stuff like that?
I mean, yeah, coaches have been really appreciative. I'm getting more and more parent contact. A lot of the times, honestly, it's parents saying like, my kid had 2 more points in this game than you said that they did,
Right.
Which I understand, it's especially if it's incorrect and the scorebook is incorrect. But I mean, there's a lot of people when they say that, if they do say that, they also say they really appreciate the site.
Yeah,
so
that's always nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand where they're coming from. So
We've seen
been
both
ramping up more and more. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's what I always wondered, because you keep up your presence as as an individual, as Jeff Doherty. That's not on there. Like you just want it to be about the teams and the stats and stuff. So I often wonder if people recognize that that there is somebody behind it, and if they're able to contact you and interact with you if need be.
Yeah, my name is on the footer, but I mainly just did that. It's just like created by Jeff Doherty, I think. But
Yeah.
I mainly just did that so people knew where it was coming from. I mean, the one thing that's actually surprised me a little bit is, how nice coaches have been and how willing to participate. I don't really get a lot of coaches saying like, "Who are you and where did this come from?" Which is nice. I guess I appreciate people not questioning it. But I think if I was in their shoes, if this just kind of popped up out of nowhere last year, I probably would have had just more curiosity about like who's behind it all. But I mean, they just no questions asked have been great sending in scorebooks and stuff. But yeah, I didn't want to make it about me at all. I put my name on there so people could find me if they needed to and ask me questions. But yeah, it's really just about the site itself.
If there's ever anything that we can do to help you, Jeff,
Yes.
myself or us as a group or as a show, or just please reach out. I mean, I don't know what that would be, but we support you. We appreciate what you're doing. I love the name of your website. I love the logo, and I love the way you do it. So Jeff Doherty, pad3hoops.com. The voice of Delco, Dave Berman, thank you. John Velios, thank you. Next week, we will move the show to Monday at 7 rather than Sunday at 6 because of Super Bowl. I don't think we could compete with the Super Bowl, guys. I just have a strong feeling that we could. So,
Hey, Jeff, real quick, congrats to your alma mater, Gettysburg Wrestling. Man, they're unbelievable.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I think it's 3 in a row, right? They were always good when I was there too, but I think recently they've really. I don't follow their sports as much as I probably should, especially an hour and a half away now. But I think 3 in a row district champs I saw.
Yeah, they took over,
and they came into they wrestled Mid-Penn Commonwealth.
Yeah,
they took over Central Dauphin as the
they stepped up
over. Yeah, so I think it's Wilson and is that over with now? Gettysburg beat Wilson, right? Okay, all right.
And State
Guys,
College won the district.
Yeah, they're good.
Triple A tournament.
I'd like to have them State College specifically down with us come postseason in all sports because they're really good. It's a great sport.
Yeah, me too.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Sunday. Yep, we'll talk to you soon, guys. Take care.
Have a good night.